Book title, Redemption's Path. Chapter 1, A Journey Back to Faith. Johan stood alone in the cemetery, his eyes fixed upon the small gravestone that bore the name of his beautiful child, Emily. The wind whispered through the graveyard, carrying with it a haunting reminder of the loss he had endured. Cold gusts rustled the fallen leaves, leaving them to drift like souls seeking solace in the approaching darkness. It had been 3 long years since the tragic accident that claimed the lives of his wife, Sarah, and their young daughter, Emily. The pain still seared through Johan's heart like an open wound, leaving him with an unquenchable ache that refused to subside. As a pastor, he had always believed in the power of God's love and the resilience of the human spirit. But now he found himself questioning everything he once held dear. Johan had been a pillar of faith in his community for years. His sermons inspired countless people, and his kindness and compassion were renowned. But after Sarah and Emily's death, something inside him snapped. Anger consumed him, and he turned his back on the church, unable to find solace in the faith that had once brought him so much comfort. Each day became a relentless battle against his own grief. Doubt gnawed at his soul, leaving him feeling empty and lost. He searched for answers in the dark corners of his mind, reaching out in desperation for anything that would bring him peace, but nothing seemed to alleviate the ache in his heart. One cold and lonely night, as Johan sat in his study, he found himself grasping at straws, yearning for a sign, any sign that would bring him back to his faith. He lit a candle and stared into its flickering flame, hoping to find some glimmer of reassurance in its warmth. As he sat there, lost in his thoughts, a voice penetrated the stillness of the room. "Johan," it whispered softly. Johan looked around, but there was no one else present. The voice came again, this time more distinctly. "Johan, my child, do not despair. I am with you. I have never left your side." Johan's heart skipped a beat as he realized the voice was not his own. It was the voice of God. Tears streamed down his face as he felt a surge of love and forgiveness wash over him. In that moment, the walls he had built around his heart crumbled and his faith was renewed. With newfound determination, Johan returned to the church he once called home. The familiar scent of incense and the hushed whispers of prayers engrossed him as he stepped through the doors. He could feel the weight of his burden slowly being lifted as he knelt in prayer, surrendering his pain to a higher power. Little did Johan know that his journey was just beginning. As he delved deeper into his faith, he began to see how his own healing and redemption could bring hope to others who were struggling. And it was within the walls of the church that he first encountered a lonely teenage orphan named Benjamin. Benjamin had lost his parents in a tragic car accident and had been living in the church's shelter ever since. His eyes mirrored the pain and confusion that Johan's had once felt. Drawn to the boy's vulnerability, Johan reached out, offering a shoulder to lean on and a listening ear. In their conversations, Johan shared his own story of loss and redemption, speaking of his own doubts and fears. Benjamin listened intently, his young eyes filling with a glimmer of hope. Despite their age difference and the different paths that had led them to the church, the connection between Johan and Benjamin was undeniable. As Johan guided Benjamin through his own journey of healing, he found strength in the knowledge that he was not alone. Through their shared experiences, they both began to believe in the power of redemption and the strength of faith to mend even the deepest wounds. With each passing day, Johan's faith grew stronger and his love for God deepened, but he knew that his journey was far from over. There were still battles to be fought, bridges to be mended, and wounds to be healed. However, with each step he took on his path towards redemption, Johan knew that he was not alone. He was guided by a love that never wavers, a love that would see him through even the darkest nights. Chapter 2, Unveiling God's Plan, Johan's and Benjamin's Destiny. The sun had just begun to rise, casting a warm glow over the small village. where Johan and Benjamin had found refuge. As they sat on the porch, sipping their morning tea, Johan couldn't help but reflect on the incredible journey they had been on. Ever since their paths had crossed, Johan had felt a strong connection to the orphan. It was as if God had brought them together for a greater purpose. Day by day, as they shared their stories and experiences, a bond of trust and understanding had formed between them. Johan believed that there were no coincidences in life. Every twist and turn, every joy and sorrow was part of a greater plan orchestrated by God. And as he continued to delve into his spiritual journey, he began to unravel the intricate threads of that plan. Sitting beside him, Benjamin peered curiously at Johan, sensing the depth of his contemplation. "What is it, Johan?" Benjamin inquired. Johan smiled, his eyes shimmering with faith. "I've been thinking, my dear young friend, it seems that our paths were destined to converge. Through our shared experiences, I believe we have a greater purpose in each other's lives." Benjamin's eyes widened with curiosity, awaiting an explanation. "What do you mean, Johan? What purpose could we possibly serve?" Johan leaned closer, his voice filled with conviction. "I believe that we are meant to be a beacon of light and love for those lost in the depths of darkness. We have been given second chances for a reason, and it is our duty to spread hope and redemption to others." Benjamin's eyes sparkled with newfound determination. "But how do we begin? How do we bring light and love to those who need it most?" Johan paused for a moment, collecting his thoughts. "We start right here, in this village. It's the place where we found each other, where our own journeys began to intertwine. We can begin by reaching out to those who are suffering and in need. We can offer a listening ear, a helping hand, and words of encouragement." Benjamin nodded eagerly, inspired by Johan's words. "Yes, we can make a difference, Johan. Together we can bring hope to those who have lost it. We can show them that there is a way out of the darkness." With their plans set in motion, Johan and Benjamin embarked on their mission. They walked through the village, visiting families struggling with poverty, illness, and despair. With each encounter, they offered compassion, understanding, and a glimmer of hope. The impact of their actions was profound. As they listened to the stories of these villagers, they realized just how crucial their presence was. Together, Johan and Benjamin were able to uplift spirits, restore faith, and ignite sparks of determination within each individual they encountered. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, and their mission continued to expand. News of Johan's and Benjamin's selfless acts spread throughout the village, reaching even the most remote corners. The villagers began to share their own stories of redemption and hope, inspired by the unwavering faith and love that Johan and Benjamin had shown them. As they sat under the starlit sky one evening, young Benjamin turned to Johan, gratitude filling his eyes. "Johan, I never thought my life could have meaning, but through your guidance and God's plan, I have found purpose. Thank you for believing in me." Johan smiled, his heart overflowing with joy. "My dear young friend, the scripture Romans 8:28 has never been so evident and clear to me than just now, for it is you who has inspired me. Together we have unveiled God's plan for our lives, and through our unity we have brought light and love to those who need it most. Our journey is far from over, but I have no doubt that God's hand will continue to guide us as it has all along." And so, Johan and Benjamin continued their mission, their hearts filled with unwavering faith and the knowledge that they were fulfilling their destiny. With each act of kindness, they brought a glimmer of hope, redeeming not only themselves, but also those who had once lost all hope. And as they traveled on, they knew that their story was just the beginning of something much greater, a testament to the power of love, compassion, and the intricate threads of God's plan for our lives. They learned to not look and trust in what was woven together before their eyes, but to trust in God's heart for them, and to keep their hearts always open to receive more of His good and perfect love daily. The end. A book written by Jules Mahalo. That's me. All for the glory of one Father, dedicated to the empowering word of Romans 8:28, November 4th, 2023. Thank you for listening and for subscribing to my amazing online book family, Jules.